You're someone who's known Donald Trump for a long time. You used to actually give him political advice. And I wonder, you know, when you describe your relationship, I was looking at this today, in 2016, you said that you and Trump had a love-hate relationship.
I mean, he truths about me on Truth Social, but we don't have a relationship. That's as close as we come. I haven't spoken to him since right before he left the White House.
What do you make of how he was when you knew him?
Yeah, I mean, the weave is on his head and in his mouth, and it's not working. You know, he's slowed down. There's no question about it. Having known him for 25 years.
What if I told you that Trump's tariffs could hit your wallet harder than a roundhouse kick from Chuck Norris?
When you hear Donald Trump say that the United States has become the garbage can for the world as a dumping ground, I mean, just as someone who, you have such an amazing success story, what do you make of that? You know, when you look at your surrogacy for Harris, you've been out there stumping for her, making the argument for her. The New York Times called you the most surprising surrogate for her.
This is our country. It's beautiful. We love it. I'm still part of the older generation, love it or leave it. And to say that we've become the garbage can is insulting to every single American.
Mark Cuban thinks so, and he's got the numbers to prove it. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. From supporter to critic, Cuban's journey is wilder than a roller coaster at Six Flags. But here's the million-dollar question. Is he onto something, or is this just another case of billionaire drama? Let's find out. Remember when Mark Cuban and Donald Trump were best buds? Yeah, those days are long gone.
Declined. It's just reality. Father Time is undefeated. You can't be 78 years old and not expect some decline.
Do you think voters see it that way? I mean, obviously it was a major issue for Biden. He's not in this race anymore because of it. They don't see Trump the same way?
No, not at all. You don't hear him talk in depth about policies at all. And so you can get by with just sound bites. You can get by with being loud and boisterous and salesy. And to some people, that comes across as being the right thing to do. Because Trump never is intellectual about anything. You don't ever think of Donald Trump and think, wow, that was really an in-depth conversation he had with somebody. You don't think of Donald Trump and say, that was really nuanced in what he had to say about this position or his policy.
Like Trump's natural hair color. Back in 2016, Cuban thought Trump was the best thing to hit politics since sliced bread. He was all, I don't care what his actual positions are. He gives honest answers rather than prepared answers. Cuban was impressed that Trump spoke his mind instead of giving those boring, rehearsed politician responses. But as the 2016 campaign rolled on, Cuban started to notice some red flags. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck, but with more bad hair and Twitter rants. Cuban, being the helpful billionaire he is, tried to give Trump some business advice. But Trump wasn't having it. He was like a toddler refusing to eat his veggies, stubborn and probably in need of a nap. The turning point came when Cuban suggested Trump should hang out with local business folks. Trump's response, Mark, Donald Trump and Mark Cuban don't go to people's houses and have dinner. Are you kidding me? Well, excuse us, Your Highness.
Well, neither side really, that's just the nature of the candidacy. Neither side gets into details because Kamala Harris came into this race 13 weeks ago in a deficit in awareness. Even Donald Trump said, who is Kamala Harris? Donald Trump has been doing this for 9 years, and he still hasn't gotten into depth in policy. So,
but why do you think he's not punished for not having policy? But
nobody knows who she is. So she spent the last 13 weeks letting people get to know her. It's tough to do that and to get into detail on policy.
Apparently, rubbing elbows with the common folk was beneath the great Donald Trump. That's when Cuban realized Trump was about as in touch with everyday Americans as a cat is with quantum physics. He also noticed that Trump's campaign strategy relied heavily on religious groups doing the grunt work. It was like Trump thought he could win the presidency by outsourcing his campaign to the local church bake sale committee. As Trump's rhetoric got more inflammatory than a jalapeno eating contest, Cuban's support went up in flames. By the time the general election rolled around, Cuban had jumped ship faster than rats on the Titanic. He switched sides and endorsed Hillary Clinton, saying, I am ready to vote for a true leader. I am ready to vote for the American dream. Talk about a plot twist. But wait, folks, there's more drama in this political soap opera than in a whole season of The Bachelor. Cuban's journey from Trump fanboy to Trump critic is wilder than a night out with Charlie Sheen. And trust me, we're just getting started. This billionaire beef is about to get spicier than Trump's tanning spray.
I mean, it comes across like that to a lot of people. We're looking at how close this race is. And, you know, we had the town hall with Harris this week. We heard from voters saying, I want specifics from her. I want to know what my taxes are going to look like when he likens to, or Harris likens to a Trump sales tax.
Right.
And drill, baby, drill is what he told me at the town hall.
Going to work.
Well, also the U.S. is producing more oil right now than we ever have. I'm filing them in April if she's in the Oval Office. And just when you compare that, as it's now become the same, people are focusing on the double standard that the both of them face. You know, Trump's plan is tariffs, which, you know,
Don't work.
Yeah, you might think Trump's tariffs are sticking it to China, but Cuban's dropping a truth bomb that'll hit you harder than a poorly aimed Twitter rant. Get ready to find out why your beer might soon cost more than a fancy Mar-a-Lago membership. Spoiler alert, it ain't pretty, and it sure ain't cheap. Seems like Cuban's gone from Trump fanboy to full-on economic prophet of doom. He's calling Trump's tariff plans insanity and economic suicide. Strong words from a guy who used to be Team Trump, huh? But here's the kicker. Cuban might be onto something. So how do these tariffs actually work? Well, it's not rocket science, but it's definitely not what Trump's been telling us. Turns out, when Trump slaps a tariff on Chinese goods, it's not China reaching into their pockets to pay up. Nope, it's good old American consumers like you and me who end up footing the bill. It's like Trump's playing a game of economic hot potato and we're the ones getting burned. Let's break it down with something we all love. Beer. Cuban warns that thanks to tariffs on aluminum, that 6-pack of cold ones you grab for game day might soon cost you more than a ritzy Mar-a-Lago membership. Talk about a buzzkill. And it's not just beer, we're talking about price hikes on everything from your kids' toys to your grandma's new iPhone. But wait, it gets worse. Cuban's crystal ball is showing some scary stuff. He's predicting these tariffs could lead to a crisis that makes 2008 look like a walk in the park. Remember 2008? Yeah, not exactly the good old days. Here's the real gut punch. A lot of Trump's supporters are cheering for these tariffs, thinking they're sticking it to China. But according to Cuban, they're the ones who'll be hit hardest. It's like they're rooting for the guy who's about to pick their pockets. Talk about an economic own goal. Now, before you think this is just Cuban running his mouth, turns out he's not alone. His warnings are starting to catch on with other business bigwigs. It's like the economic equivalent of that scene in Jaws, where the guy sees the shark and starts yelling at everyone to get out of the water. So here's the million-dollar question. Is America heading for an economic train wreck? Or is Cuban just crying wolf? Either way, one thing's for sure. This economic soap opera is far from over. Stay tuned, folks. Well, folks, it looks like Cuban's journey from Trump cheerleader to chief critic is more than just billionaire drama. It's like watching the whole business world do a 180 faster than Trump can tweet fake news. This battle of the big bucks isn't just about who has the biggest ego, though let's be real, that's part of it. It's about where our economy's headed. Are we cruising to prosperity or careening towards a financial fiasco? Here's the kicker. We're all in this economic rodeo, whether we like it or not. Every time we buy a 6-pack or scroll through Amazon, we're part of this high-stakes game. So maybe it's time we start paying attention to more than just the price tag. After all, our wallets might depend on it.